What's up, everybody? It's your boy Season. So today we have the Action Toys Voltron Lion Force. I was going back and forth on whether or not I was going to buy this one, but there was some gimmicks that I really liked when I looked at the promo picture. So we're going to be taking a look at this today. So we're not going to waste any more time. Let's go. So let's see what we've got inside here. So first we have the manual. Good CGI artwork there. I really do like that. So you've got that. We'll be taking a look at this shortly. And then you have all the accessories here. So we've got a nice size base here with the two swords. You got the extra faceplate, the extra covers for the lions. So that's good. And then you've got all of the weapons for the lions as well. So you got that. So pretty standard for Voltron. And then let's see what we've got here. So then we have, it looks like we have all of the lions here. So it's got this little cover that's very Blitzway-like. We've seen that in a couple of others as well. They've done it in the Solo Gokin and all of that, so you can take all of that off. All right, and then let's pull this out here. You got the space cutter here, not a shield. And then you have, looks like we have the blazing sword. Let's take some of this out of its wrapper there. So you got the blazing sword, or the gokin, as they would call it in Go Lion. So we've got that. And then of course you've got the blue, yellow, red, black, and green lions. So we'll be taking a look at all of these here shortly. So now we'll take a look at the manual first. So let's take a look at this manual here. So like I said earlier, I really do like this kind of artwork, especially since I do my own thumbnails. So that looks really good. So it looks like it's from the Action Gokin series. And it looks like you got your parts count here. Let's see. And it looks like you've got your product composition. It looks like it's in English and Japanese, so that is pretty cool. Now the thing about this one, I remember that there was a little bit, I wouldn't say controversy, I think that may be too strong of a word, but I would say that there was a little pushback when this was first announced, because this one is relatively small compared to especially like the Solo Gokin or definitely the Blitzway. The Blitzway one is probably the biggest Voltron we've gotten, or one of the top 3 biggest ones that we've gotten for sure. So, you know, it was interesting that Action Toys went this route as far as making this figure only about 8.5 to 9 inches tall. So I'll be interested to see how tall he is once we get him together, you know, but ultimately, you know, the thing about most Voltrons, this is my 3rd or 4th one. I think once you transformed one, you kind of transformed them all, but they do have a couple of different gimmicks in this one that I think is going to be really special. So hopefully if they did them correctly, it should be pretty nice. So we'll see what we've got here. Let's see. I do like the fact that it's in English and Japanese. That does help. So I don't have to get out Google Translate. I would say that out of everything that I've seen thus far, I think the only thing it's really missing is a effect part for the blazing sword or the gokin. So in this review, I'm definitely going to be switching back and forth between saying Voltron and Go Lion, because I've watched both series a number of times. I'd probably say, if we're talking about since I was a kid, probably at least 20 times for both series. So, you know, so you'll have to forgive me if I keep going back and forth between the two names and stuff. But anyway, so that's what we've got for the manual. So now we'll take a look at his accessories next. So I want to take a look at Voltron's accessories real quick. Now, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on these because pretty much you get everything that we normally get in most Voltron sets. So these aren't really any different at all. So of course here you have the blazing sword or the gokin. We have the space cutter or the spinning laser blade. Not a shield. That is one of my biggest pet peeves. Everybody calls this a shield. In the series, he never used this as a shield, at least not that I remember. And I've seen Voltron pretty much my entire life. So he used it like a throwing star. This is one of my biggest pet peeves because I see it all the time. People use it as a shield, and that's not what he used it in the show. So you've got that there. You've got your mouth blades. Now these are color coordinated. So of course the red one goes with the red lion, the green goes with the green lion, etc., etc. So the blue lion, the yellow lion, then you got the black lion there. So you'll put that in their mouths. We'll actually go through that here a little bit later. Then you have, they're calling these the solar combat spears. So you do have these, he would kind of throw these. So you have two of those. You have the extra face here, and actually I will show you this one. Let's see. Let's get that to focus, there we go. So that's the open mouth version. So, and I remember in some of the concept art and stuff like that, he did have a red dot. I kind of wish they would give us another one that had the red dot. That could just be a color error. Because, you know, especially back then, you know, errors, you know, when things are hand drawn, it really just depends on the artist. But yeah, so you've got this wide open mouth faceplate. Like I said, it's pretty run of the mill for most Voltron sets. These are the yellow lion shoulder turrets. So all the lions can pretty much generate like their own weapons. They would just kind of come up out of thin air. So you could do that. So that's what you have for that one. Then you have the shotgun shoulder blaster for the yellow lion as well. So this would go on both the opposite sides of the lion. Like I said, I'll go through this when we get to the lion section. This one is a cannon for the blue lion. So you've got that there. So that would go on one of his sides. This is the shoulder cannon for the blue lion. So he would use that one on the other side. This is the laser cannon for the green lion. So he would use that. This is the shooting star. So he would use this on the green lion as well. And then these two are for the red lion there. These bazookas would be for the black lion. So he would have these on both sides there. So that's pretty much all that you have for accessories. Like I said, if this is not your first rodeo with Voltron, these are pretty much the same. So he gets these same accessories in almost every set except for the Japanese Blitzwave version, to where these items were sold separately except for the sword and the shield there. But so that's what we have for accessories. So now let's get into the lions next. So let's take a look at these lions. Now the thing about Voltron is most of the time his parts are symmetrical. So the arms are pretty much the same, the legs are pretty much the same, and so the red and the green are pretty much going to be the same as far as articulation and the different things that they can do, just like the yellow and the blue. But it is a little bit different from the Blitzwave, so we will take a look at that. To me, always the most important one is going to be the black lion, because he's the one that needs all the articulation. Because without him having articulation, usually once you transform him into Voltron, you're gonna start having some articulation problems. So we will put on the weapons at the end so you can see what they look like with the weapons. So let's get to that. So here we have the red lion. This is the right arm of Voltron. So the thing about him is he can pretty much sit on his hind legs, but it is gonna look kind of weird. So he can pretty much get it like that, and that has to do with the elbow joint for Voltron there. But he can do that both ways. So you can go in and out. You can also spin this 360, which I don't think that the Blitzwave one could do. And you do have that also for the tail there. You can lift this up and put that in there like that. So you can do that. Actually, you would probably need a tool to push this out. It does have a little lip on there, but it's a little hard to get in there. But so you've got that there. So he's got pretty good articulation for the wrist or for the head. You can spin this 360. All right. So he does have that. He does go up. It does look down slightly, but not by much. Now this to me, because for me, when it comes to the lions, I pretty much want them to be able to sit on their hind legs. Kind of like they did in the show, because they did do that quite a bit in the show, and especially since they did it in the ending credits for Voltron. In the ending credits, they were all sitting on their hind legs. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind getting a set of lions who that's all they did. They don't even need to transform. They just need to be able to stand in those poses. I just like that pose. So, but you know, it's not too bad. So I do like this. It does look pretty good. You do have die cast in here and here. And then of course, when you want to go to the anime version, pretty much what you'll do is you'll just take these and you'll go in here and pull those off, and those come out like that. And then you'll put the red covers on. So you do that with the green one as well. The feet have a little bit different, but we'll go over that here shortly. But you do have that. You do have an open mouth. It does have the lasers in there as well. All right, and then we'll actually take a look at him when he has his weapons on here in a little bit. But so that's what you've got for the red lion. And then for the yellow lion, so this is the left foot of Voltron. So with this guy, he can raise his foot. Now that has to do with his transformation, but he can do that. It does go, you can spin it 360 like that. You know, unfortunately, when you do this, you can't really have like a looking down pose. That was the one thing that the Blitzway, the lions that form the feet, they really could sit on their hind legs quite well. But this one, not so much. Number one, there's not a break here, because in the Blitzway, you could actually split this to where you could actually get them to sit on their hind legs. With this one, you cannot do that. So you've got that there. Of course, for the tail, you would just take that, fold that in, and then push that in there when you're transforming him. So you've got that there. Let me see if I can get this out here. So you've got that there. You've got this part opens and goes up and down like that. The feet, pretty much for the taking off the panels of the feet here, you would pretty much just take this and split it this way, like that. And then you would put the red cover on. So I think that this, even though it's relatively simple, I think that this probably works a little bit better. The Blitzway, you had the covers, but those can be broken, to where with this one, you can just literally pop them off and put them back on. So I really do like that quite a bit. So that's what you've got there. And then also he has the ones, because normally for the feet of Voltron, his feet would kind of be like this, right? But and even in the Blitzway, I don't think you could, there was no cover for these feet. But with this one, there is. And what it is you've got this little slot here, if I can find it. And you can just take this and pull this out like that. And then you would just put the yellow cover on there. So relatively simple way to do it. I like it. Now, the thing is, this part is plastic. So I guess if you mess around with this a little too much, it could possibly break, but I don't think that that would really be the case here. I think just, you know, as long as you're not manhandling it, I think you'll be okay with there, but you can pop that in and out like that. So that would kind of be what his feet would look like there. And we'll go through the transformation in a little bit here. And then for the mouth, he can open this. I can get my hand in there. There we go. So he's got his mouth part there. That's be where the weapons would go for the yellow lion. And he does have these missiles in there, even though they don't really come out or anything, but they are molded in there. So you do have that for the yellow lion. And then for the black lion, so he looks really, really good, I must admit. So you can move these parts. Of course, he forms the body of Voltron. And the way that he transforms, he actually transforms from, his transformation is a little bit different than most Voltrons that I've seen. Most of the time, the arms will fold into this piece here, but on this piece, they actually fold into the back. So that's pretty interesting. And I've actually seen people take these off as well. So if you don't even want to bother doing that, you can just take these feet off. I probably wouldn't do that, so I wouldn't chance that, but really they just kind of fold, and then they fold in the back there. So of course you got the wings here. All right, so you've got that, you got this piece here, even though I don't really like that piece all that much, but it doesn't like to stay connected very well. So you do have that there. Also, and then he does have his tail, and pretty much how you pull his tail out, you would just fold this back in here. If I was gonna put this away, and then it will kind of fold in on itself here. If I can get that to, hold on. There we go. And that kind of folds in on itself. Now this one could be a little bit difficult to pop out because you're supposed to put pressure on the back and this piece will pop up, but I haven't been able to get that to work. Usually I just take a little pry tool and pry this open, but you don't want to scratch the paint there. But that's what you've got for his tail there. He does have an ab crunch as well, so he can be down like that, and then he can move his legs. He also does have like a drop down as well, but you know, so he does have that. So he definitely has a way more articulation than I'm used to seeing in the Black Lion. The thing about this guy, he still can't, I mean, the thing about these is that they can sit on their hind legs, but unfortunately, to me, it just doesn't look right. And of course, I would want this insignia to show, and unfortunately, that's just not gonna be able to do that. But for the head, this can move up and down. It can move side to side a little bit. So you've got a little bit of wiggle room there. So you've got that there. So that's what you've got for the Black Lion. So that's what you have for the lions. They do some interesting things, but pretty much most of the lions are pretty much the same as far as the Voltron ones, but it does look like, at least with the arms, that you do have added articulation that you didn't have in the Blitzway. So I'll be interested to see what that looks like when we form Voltron and see what his articulation is for that. But next, we'll put the weapons on them. So let's do that next. So here we have the lions with all of their weapons deployed. So they do look really, really good. And all of them lock into their mouths as far as their knives, you know, for their mouths. The only one that doesn't lock in is for the Black Lion. That's because he has the Voltron face in there. So you just have to kind of just clamp it down and it shouldn't move all that much. But all the other ones are kind of locked in there securely. Now, there are two issues that I've had with this, and I don't know if that's supposed to happen or not. But what it was is on the Green Lion here, I had it to where this piece in his leg here, there's a plastic piece in here. And I don't know if these two pieces are supposed to be glued together or not, but I've had this actually come out. And I don't want to try to do it right now because I don't want to risk breaking it. But I don't know if that's a glue that's supposed to keep that together, or you can actually take it off and put it on. But I would just look out for that. When you get yours in, just check and make sure that the feet are on there securely. So that was the problem that I had with the Green Lion. All the other ones were good except for the Black Lion. The Black Lion, his little chest piece, I've had this come out on 2 different occasions. And it's just a little plug, you can just put it back in there. So it's not really that big of a deal. Now, I don't know if it's supposed to do that, or or if maybe like the glue that they had for this guy has worn off or something like that. But you know, it would have been nice if I could have got the actual cross in here instead of the wrenches here. So if they had 2 faceplates, that would have been really good as well. But those are the 2 issues that I had for the lions. But other than that, they are good. They're the typical lions. So so you do have those. And then one more thing, as far as the lions that have the arms, you can lift these out of here. So these will come up like that. So even though the yellow and blue ones don't move, the missiles that they have at the bottom of their mouths, but the laser ones on the red and the green one, those do pop out. So I just wanted to show that as well. So, but that's what you have for the lion. So now we'll form Voltron. So let's get to that. So now we're ready to form Voltron. So let's do this transformation. Wow, so here is Voltron all together. I must say, even though he's a little bit on the small side, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with the detail. I don't know if I like this all that much, but the detail looks really good on him, man. He looks spectacular, I must admit. Now, there's a couple things that I don't like, but I think most of them are relatively minor. He stands relatively well, you know, and of course we have the lion feet on the arms and on the feet there, but I think all in all, he looks really good. I'm shocked. This is a little bit over 200 bucks for this guy. This is pretty good, man. I'm not gonna lie. I really do like it. It looks spectacular. I'm surprised they were able to get this much detail work in here, and it's just, the chrome looks good. The gold here for the cross there looks good. On the ears looks good. I would want his face to be just slightly elongated a little bit more, but I think overall he looks spectacular. Wow, I'm shocked. Now, you guys know that I am a stickler for anime accuracy, and in the show, a lot of times you did not see the lion legs in the show. It was more of a solid color. And even on the Blitzway, they were able to kind of tuck this away. They had a cover that went over the legs, to where with this one, you actually pull them out. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna pull the legs off, because they all come off, and we will put on the covers, and let's see what he looks like without the legs on. So I wanted to take a look at his detail, especially once he has the covers on. And I must say that this looks really, really good. I'm actually quite shocked how good this is, considering that he's not really big. The level of detail on it is really good. So let's take a look here. So I like how they did the covers. Who would have thought that all you needed to do is be able to plug the legs out and put covers on in order to get the anime look? Looks awesome. The face, I've always had a problem kind of with Voltron sculpts, because depending on how he looked in the anime, like he seemed to have more of a very long kind of like mouth here. So I think that this should be slightly longer. But I think overall it still looks good. The chrome on the ears there looks spectacular. We'll do some articulation with him, and then also the crest here. Now, this is the wrenches, this is not the cross. And I know that the wrenches has to do with the original pulpy, original Voltron or Go Lion that was released, that he had the wrench instead of the cross. I wish that they had one where you could actually pull this plate off and then put the cross one in there. But I think that this still looks good. Now, you know, that is a minor detail, so I don't consider that to be that bad there. So you've got, he looks really, really good. He looks so anime accurate. Even with the heels, that helps with his stability. Looks awesome. I am so impressed. Good job. Good job to Action Toys, man. I am shocked how good this looks. Now, there is one thing I don't like, and it's this back piece here. This is so unnecessary. You don't even need this. Now, you can pull this off, but also I found that this doesn't like to stay on. And a lot of times when you're grabbing this figure, you're gonna grab him from the back, and then you kind of mess this up, because this is actually supposed to raise up, but it doesn't really lock in place, or at least I haven't found it to do that. So that's the kind of like completed look. But to me, this was unnecessary. I don't really think that you needed that there. But I think overall, especially for if you're someone who's kind of a stickler for anime accuracy, this is pretty doggone close. And I knew, I had a feeling this was gonna be good. I really did. I would say the only thing that I can think of right now that people really are not gonna like is they're gonna say that it's too small. That's the only thing I can think of that maybe people would have a problem with this guy with. But we will do some articulation with him. I just wanted to take a look at his detail real quick. So let's get to his articulation next. So let's take a look at Voltron's articulation. So for the head, he can look up, way up there. He can look down, way down. That's probably the best I've seen thus far. Side to side, okay. Can he do 360? Looks like he can. So that's good. He's also got like an extension on this neck that's probably for the lion, but I guess you can use that if you like. So you got pretty good articulation there for the head. Then for the arm, he can raise this up quite a bit there. So he does have that. I don't know why that's, oh, that's because I'm pulling that out as that goes, but if you can at least get to his shoulder there. So he's got that. He can spin this 360. So that's good there. Now for the shoulder part, the thing about the shoulders is you can move these in and out. So they're kind of on, this is supposed to be locked, but I don't really think it locks in there well. I mean, you can snap it in there, but I don't know. I don't know if it's just mine or what, but you can move the shoulders in order to kind of bring the arms closer together. It will look kind of funny, especially if you look at it from the side, but I think overall, you can still use that. So that's what you have for the shoulder section. For the elbow, he does have a semi-decent elbow bend. I've definitely seen better. You would kind of want it to go a little bit further up than this, but I think it just has to do with the thickness of the lions there. But that's what you got for the elbow bend. Now for the bicep and the forearm, he really can't move them all that much, especially the bicep. But what he does is he's got a 360 spin right on where the elbow joint is. So that will help with articulation quite a bit. And then for the forearm, you can spin the forearm 360 as well. I'd be careful with that though, but it does look like you can do it. So you've got that. And then for the wrist, you can look up a little bit, you can look down a little bit. There's really no side to side movement, but he can spin this 360. All right, so you do have that. So I would have preferred to have a little bit better wrist articulation there, but you know, ultimately I still think it's pretty good. So so that's what you have for the wrist. Now for the midsection, he does have a good, really good ab crunch there. So he's got that. Let's see if he can go up. He can go up some, so not too bad. He does have side to side, so that's really good for articulation there. Can he do this 360? No, because his belt is in the way. That belt part is hitting that right there. So unfortunately, you're only gonna get it about 360. Now, if you can lift that up and over, possibly, but that's what you have for the midsection. Now I wanna go over the back sections, specifically the wings. The thing about this, the wings are decent here, but this piece here, I do not like this piece at all. Really, you can move it down and up, but to be honest, it doesn't like to stay hooked in there really well. And this is supposed to keep these two in place. To me, it's totally unnecessary. You really don't need this, or I definitely wouldn't have it connected. If anything, I just leave it in the back like that. But of course, with the wings, you can rotate these 360. All right, and then these are supposed to lock in to there, this part here, but I would say don't bother. It's not worth it. And to be honest, I don't know why they made that so big. And to be honest, I just think it's totally unnecessary. But so that's what you have for the back. Now for the waist section, since he doesn't really have any front skirts or side skirts or back skirts, you know, there's not really much to cover there. So let's go ahead and move on to the legs. So let me move his arms out of here. So what you can do is you can take this, you can move that up. All right, so the legs go about 90 degrees. Then you can bend the knee. All right, that's really good. Of course, like I always say, you want that V there. So that's a good knee bend there. For the thigh, you can turn this 360. I'd be careful though, it's a little stiff. All right, and then can he do the splits? The answer is yes, he can. So that's what you have for the legs. Then for the feet. So for the feet, he can bend the toe all the way down like that. That is great. I love that there. Can he go up? He can go up some. All right, but not really. It's more still kind of leveled here. And I think what'll happen is because of his ears here, that's gonna hit the bottom of his legs there. So you've got that there. He can rotate it, okay? So you can go about 45 degrees. I don't know if I try to do 90 or even 180. I don't think that that's necessary. But you know, he does have some decent there. Does he have any ankle rock? Let's see. So yes, he does, right? So he can go that way. So that will help with posing and stuff. It looks like it's just in the inside though. Let's see if I can get on the outside. Doesn't look like it. So it looks like it only goes that one way, but that's unfortunate. But I think it's still better than nothing, right? So, that's what you have. And then of course, to help him with his stability, they have his heels. Most Voltron figures are not very unstable. I think it's just this part here that helps a lot with stability, but having this extra heel part is really, really good. And then that does move up and down in a way that goes in. You'd actually lock that up there for lion mode and stuff, but you can move that as well. So that's what we have for articulation. So his articulation is pretty good, I must admit. He does do some different things with his articulation. I do like that a lot. So that's what we have for articulation. So taking a look at this guy, when this was first announced, everybody was saying it's too small, it's too small, it's too small. And yes, we have gotten some really big Voltrons in the past, but this one is not this. This is more like the size of a normal figure that you see in other lines. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna do a quick size comparisons. I'm not gonna take out a ton, but I just want to take out a few so you could see. So the first one I'm going to do, as I drop it in the background, okay, is I'm gonna bring out the Solo Gokin Try-On 3. So as you can see, Voltron is bigger than the Try-On 3. Now, this guy is measured at about 8.6 inches from foot to head. So he's a nice size. He's not humongous like the Blitzway or even the Solo Gokin, but he is a relatively nice size. So as you can see, he's taller than the Tryon 3. So we'll move him out, and then next, I'm gonna bring out another one that's more recent, and that is the Kaiser SKL. So as you can see, Kaiser SKL is taller than him, but not by a ton. So I would probably say, just by eyeing this, he's probably about 9.5 inches, maybe even 10, to where he's about 8.5 to 8.6 or 7 inches tall. So he will fit in with these lines relatively well. And the thing is, I think that there is room for a figure of this size for Voltron. Yes, I think we've just been spoiled in the fact that we usually get them that are humongous. And I think the Blitzway really spoiled us, because that one is huge. It barely fits in a DTOF. So, but I do think that there is room for this size of figure for Voltron. And I think that they did a really good job. So I wasn't gonna go super deep into the size comparisons, but just so you guys could see. So that's what your size comparisons are for this Voltron. Now, one last thing that we want to do before we get into the end of the review is we want to go over his weapons. Now, the weapons that he has is pretty standard for Voltron. So of course he has his twin spears here. These will connect here. So you can do that. And then the way that you would connect these is he has the hole in his mouth where the blades went in, and you would really just put those up there. So, and put it up there, boom, he's got his blades. So you've got that too. And then you would also do the same thing for the space cutter here. So not a shield, but you would put it in his mouth the exact same way. And then of course, for the blades, you can do that for the dual blades. So let's go ahead and take this out. And then lastly, we just want to do the blazing sword. So what you've got is pretty much, it's gonna be the exact same way that we just did with that one, but you would take this and you would put this in his mouth, and that goes up in there, and boom. And actually, I think I have that on backwards, so it'd probably be like this. There you go. Yeah, and then clamp that down, and boom. So that's what you have for the blazing sword. So that's pretty much all of his weapons. Now, one thing about Voltron that's interesting to me is that in all the sets, we always get the space cutter, the twin blades, and the blazing sword. But there is one weapon that he is missing. And for those who are Voltron aficionados, can you tell me what episode he had nunchucks in? Yes, they never throw in the nunchucks. Yes, Voltron did use nunchucks for one episode, and kudos to you guys if you know what episode that was. So yes, I have been watching Voltron literally my entire life. So but yeah, if you can tell me what episode that was in the comments, I'll be very, very impressed. But anyway, so that's what we have for his weapons. Now we'll get into final thoughts. And before we go to final thoughts, I want to go through one last thing, and it has to do with how the lions connect, specifically on the arms. Okay, and if I pull this out, all right, if I pull this out, the thing about this, the way that they did this, as you see, this is a little bit scratched up. I don't know if you can see that. It's a little bit scratched up. The reason why was when I first transformed Voltron and you kind of put this part in here, I was getting a lot of resistance, so it would not go all the way in. And what I found was that there was an extra piece of plastic still in here that I could not, it would not push it in. So it looks like I might have just had a little bit of extra plastic. So what I did was I took a file and I actually kind of filed that down so that goes in more smoothly. I did not have that problem with the green lion, but for whatever reason on the red lion, I did. So if you do run into that problem, that's how you fix it. You're gonna need like a round file and kind of file that area down. So now he will go in there and stay in there. If I can push that all the way in. There we go, like that. So I just wanted to go over that real quick because I was a little concerned when that first happened, because I was like, why is this arm not going in all the way? But what it was is there was a little piece of plastic there. So that's what we've got there. So I just wanted to go over that real quick. So now let's get into final thoughts. So last thoughts on this guy, you know, this is an interesting piece, you know, it does definitely have die cast in it, but then sometimes to the touch, it just feels like some parts are plastic. We do have some interesting things here with the fact that you can do the anime version of this without the lion legs attached. I think that to me, that's almost worth this whole thing, just to get an anime accurate version of Voltron. I think is really, really good. His articulation is really good. The lions suffer individually, but I think overall, I mean, like, you're gonna buy this guy to have him be combined. I mean, I just don't see anybody getting him just for the lions. So the weapons are good. He's got the generic Voltron weaponry, so nothing too spectacular about that. I did have some issues with some of the parts falling off, whether it was the crest on his chest or like some of the lion legs were coming off when I was messing around with them. I don't know if that's supposed to happen or not, but that was one of the things that I really didn't like about this. But I think other than that, he pretty much does everything great. Now, is he better than the Blitzwave? Absolutely not. There's no way. He's not better than the Blitzwave. The Blitzwave still is the ultimate Voltron, I think. But I think this one does a lot of things well. And the fact that, you know, the Blitzwave, how they did more of like the anime style with the covers on them. I like this version where you literally just take the pieces off and put the covers on. I think that probably is going to be the best way to do him. Even though I don't really like that big old red thing in the back where the wings are, I really don't like how that attaches, because it doesn't attach well at all. But I think overall, I think it's still very, very good. The face is decent. You know, taking the face plates on and off, it's a little rough, but I think overall, you know, some people are gonna say, well, this guy's just too small. And compared to the Blitzwave, yeah, he is small, but I think he definitely fits with most super robots that have been coming out in the recent years. So roughly right around that 8.5 to like 9.5 inch range, you know, he'll fall right in line with all of those figures that have been released in the last couple of years. So I think that there's definitely room for this guy. And, you know, out of 10, you know, I've been going back and forth because, to be honest, I started out really high on this guy, and then actually as I started to mess with him during the review and a little bit off camera, I started to find little nitpicks that I really didn't like all that much. And I think that overall, he still gets a high score. I think I gave the Blitzwave like a 9.8 or a 9.9. To me, this one is probably like a 9.2. I think that it's still very, very good. but it's, you know, it doesn't have any lighting gimmicks or anything like that. But he does make up for the lighting gimmicks and some of the discrepancies with the fact that it has a solid anime look, and the articulation on this guy is very, very good. Now, if I can just get the lions that can sit on their hind legs, that would be great. But I think overall, he's a very, very good figure. So that's what I've got for you today. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, I would appreciate it. Send this out to all the people that you know that like Voltron, and I appreciate it. So thank you guys for watching the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.